Erin Gleeson, you are the New York Times bestselling author of the Forest Feast series, which I'm a huge fan of. It's kind of like a recipe cookbook series, but you actually started as an art major. Tell me about that.
I studied art in college, and then I went on to grad school and got my master's in photography. And throughout that, I decided that I really loved shooting food. So I was living in New York and I worked as a food photographer there. My husband got a job on the West Coast, which moved us out to California, and just kind of by chance, we found this little cabin in the woods. I started this blog. I called it The Forest Feast, since I was always cooking up a feast in the forest. An agent reached out and asked if I wanted to create a cookbook. So that was in 2014, my first book came out, and now I'm working on my 5th book.
You're not formally trained in the culinary arts.
My philosophy when it comes to food is simple and produce forward. My books are vegetarian.
What do you say to someone who says, oh, vegetarian food is kind of boring?
Oh, I think you just have to try cooking it a different way. Or maybe not cooking at all and just eating things raw. And I think at the core of it is really good ingredients.
These are cookbooks and they're art books. How do you make them all work together so well?
Yeah, so I had always loved watercolor painting and hand lettering, and I'd never put them together before. I just thought I'm going to just put it together and see what happens for the fun of it. I want things to look really visual and colorful on the plate. I think it's so much more fun when your food is really colorful.
Well, you took the family out of the forest a couple years ago and put together another gorgeous book, The Forest Feast Mediterranean. What was that like, having your young family on the road?
It was fun. So we have 3 kids now, but we had 2 then. Max was 9 months old and Ezra was 3, and we decided to travel. So we went to Europe, and we spent 3 months going around the Mediterranean. We did Italy, France, Spain, and Portugal. Love Mediterranean cooking. I love being on the water, and I feel so inspired by all those, fresh ingredients, the fresh basil, the fresh tomatoes, the great olive oil.
What does food mean to you?
Food to me means community. I think food is all about bringing people together and trying to create conversation around the table. The food is just really the starting place, and I think it's all about the people.
Well, I wish I was at your table in the forest right now with you, but I'm not. But I was hoping you might actually just make something for us anyway.
Thought I would make for you a dish that's sort of inspired by one of the dishes in my first book, and it's one of my summer go-tos. It's a nectarine and tomato salad. So I'm gonna start by chopping the nectarines and the tomatoes. And I would say about 3 tomatoes and 3 nectarines. So I love the colors in this. These are these beautiful green tomatoes. Everything's sliced into mostly bite-sized pieces. It does not have to be perfect. All right, now I'm just scattering things all around on the platter. Next stop is this piece of mozzarella cheese. It's probably about a 4 to 6 ounce piece of cheese. So I'm just ripping little bits of the cheese. You could leave it like this, or you could add some greens if you want. I brought some arugula, which I love in every summer salad. So I'm just gonna scatter a few of these little fresh basil leaves on top of the salad. Oh, they smell so good. I feel like that's the smell of summer. A traditional caprese, I think, might have some balsamic on it. So I just kind of treat the juices from the fruit, the nectarines and the tomatoes, as my acid. So I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil on top, and then I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of sea salt, and then perhaps just a little bit of pepper. And voila.
It looks absolutely perfect for summer and extremely beautiful at the same time.
Now, we need a cocktail to go with it.
I like the way you think.
Start with your cup. I have some ice in here. And then we're gonna do a splash of Aperol in the bottom. I love buying these little mini cans of Prosecco. And you top off. We could use a little piece of nectarine to garnish it. I'm gonna use 1 mini leaf of basil. When you go to take a sip and you smell it, it just like enhances the whole aromatic experience of the cocktail drinking time. So, cheers.
So Erin Gleeson, it was such a joy talking to you today, and it was literally the highlight of my quarantine summer, so thank you.
Oh, thank you, I love that. It was so fun for me too.